podcast joint with Ciara.
Welcome to the Team Money podcast joint. Ciara Ross is not here today. She has some things that she had to do, but I am accompanied by who I feel is one of the greatest actors of our generation, of any generation. Just in case you don't know who's with me, I'll set it up for you. He's been in at least 300 roles, whether it's been in film, stage, television. He has a voice that rivals some of the great voices of all time, such as Barry White, Chuck D, DMX, right? James Earl Jones, right? I have the pleasure of introducing now a good friend of mine, Keith David, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him. If you're out there, give him a applause. How you
What
doing
is
there, Keith?
happening?
How, how you doing there? You good?
If I were any better, I'd have to take something for it. Yeah, man.
That's right. If I had your hand, I'd cut mine
good.
off. I'll tell you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So I know you're in the car. You know, we're recording this, so I won't be too long. But there's some things I want to talk to you about. Let's start from the beginning with you. Like I made mention to you off camera, I didn't know you were from New York. You were born in Harlem, right? Harlem, USA, and you were raised in Corona, Queens, right?
Raised in Corona, East Elmhurst, Queens.
Oh, okay, great, man, great. So tell me a little, because you've come to such prominence as an actor for all these years, right? And you obviously, like everyone else, had to have a start someplace. So talk to me a little about your beginnings, how you had the opportunity to start acting. Was acting your first love?
Yeah, back in those days when I was growing up in elementary school, I wanted to be I watched a lot of TV. I wanted to be a bank president. I wanted to be a pediatrician when I watched the Donna Reed show.
Oh, the Donna Reed show, yeah.
Yeah, I would watch Dennis the Menace and think, man, I could do that,
Right.
But my first play was at PS 19. In the fifth grade, I played the Lion in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was 12, I started going to the Harlem School of the Arts.
Okay.
And that was just before I went to junior high school. No, in fact, it was just before I entered high school.
Oh, okay.
I was 1969.
So, and after you went after your stint in the Harlem School of Arts, right? You went to Juilliard, right? You studied at Juilliard.
Well, at first, I went first to the High School of Performing Arts. And then from there, I went to Purchase.
You
SUNY
did?
at Purchase.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I got kicked out of Purchase. And then,
Okay.
And then
I know there's a story behind that. Listen, Keith, I know there's a story behind that. Listen here, we all got stories,
Yes.
Yeah, but that's all good. So I know at the time, there weren't tons of opportunities for people of color to get involved in acting in the arts. And I'm quite sure you're blessed, right, as it relates to your early beginnings, right? But I wanted to mention something to you. You become such an iconic figure in the culture of hip hop, and I'm not too sure how you feel about that. You know what I mean? So, because you really become a cultural figure in our culture if you're not directly involved, if you're not an MC, if you're not a DJ, if you're not somebody that's active in our way of life, But people like yourself become iconic because you starred in motion pictures that we love so much. I mean, like Dead Presidents, like Barbershop, like all these culturally acceptable pieces of work. So how do you feel about the hip hop culture? Do you embrace it? Has it supported you in your work? I mean,
Well, you know, I
what
mean,
is your
I
vibe?
did. You know, I was on the West Side Connection.
Oh, right,
Uh,
right.
I'm a voice on the West Side Connection, and you
Mhm.
know, it's you know, it is a generational thing, and I certainly believe, you know, every generation has to define and redefine itself.
Mhm.
You know, from the previous generation. You know, I don't. I
Right.
mean, there's a lot of things about hip hop. Mostly, the thing that the thing that doesn't flow with me with hip hop is sometimes, you know, is the languages and as far as, you know, talking about women,
Mhm.
you know,
Right, right.
uh, I come from a more poetic generation where, you know,
Okay.
we talk about the same thing. Listen, everybody wants a booty call, or everybody, or you know, every generation experiences booty call. We just didn't call them that.
Right,
We
right.
tried to find more poetic ways of saying that,
Yeah,
and
well, hip
and
hop comes
also,
right. Hip hop comes right straight from the hip. You know, they come straight from the hip. They don't sugarcoat it, so it gets to be. Sometimes it can be abrasive. So
well,
to others.
sometimes it can be very abrasive,
Mhm.
and you know, you know, I prefer a softer approach because, you know, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But
This is
then
very true.
again, I mean, that's my experience. But you
Mhm.
know, even the hip hop artist singing about a booty call, all he wants to do is be loved.
Right, right, right,
He just doesn't say it like that. You know, for
right.
some for some reason that may be that may be a little, I don't know, maybe too old fashioned or too soft to say, you know, hey, I want some
Mhm.
love.
Yeah, well,
That's
this is true. This is very true. So, you your voice, as I mentioned early in the show, your voice is iconic. You know, um, at what point when you were acting did you realize that your voice could actually help you um, attain work, um, help you in your craft? You know how people gravitated to your voice, and I mean because you've done so many voiceover work, you're doing so much voiceover work. I mean you even did a video game. What video game was it? Was it Grand Theft Auto or something you did? A video
no,
game?
I did Saints Row.
You did Saints
I did
Row.
Saints Row.
Hmm.
I played the Arbiter in
Right.
Halo,
Oh yeah, you played Halo. That's right. Right.
you know,
So I mean,
Mass
so I mean,
Effect
right, right. And I think you did Call of Duty as well. Didn't you do Call of Duty?
and Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So at some point you had to say to yourself, well, my voice can make me money, or I can generate work through my voice. You know,
Well,
when
you
did
know,
you realize?
I was always interested in voiceovers because I grew up with the voice of Ossie Davis,
Hmm.
um, and there were a bunch of brothers who had, you know, magnificent voices. James Earl,
Hmm.
um, but you know, they weren't the only ones. You know, Adolf Caesar.
Adolf
Uh, when,
Caesar, the question. Yeah.
you know, when I got out of school, Adolf was the man. You know,
That's
because
right.
you know when I started out in the voiceover world, it was the White Boys Club. You know, I mean, there were
Right.
there were a few brothers, but
Hmm.
it was not it certainly, I mean, it was always disproportionate. But
Hmm.
you know, it really was not a lot of us.
Right.
Now a lot more voices are getting heard and having opportunities, and
Hmm.
I'm glad to be a, you know, a part of that.
Right. You when you pick a role, and one's offered to you, what is your motivation to do the role? I mean, I'm quite sure there have been so many parts that you actually turned down. I mean, you don't do everything that's people approach you with. So,
No,
what
I
is
mean,
your motivation actually to do the part?
mostly it's the story.
Hmm.
This,
Right,
you know, what I mean, what is it about?
right.
And is the character that I'm playing, is, you know, can I breathe some life into him to make him a full scoped human
Mm,
being?
right.
You know, and not
Yeah.
it for me. I want to see it on the page that there are
Mhm.
well-rounded. I refuse to play stereotypical roles, especially when they're written by,
Mhm.
when they're written by people, not people of color. But
Mhm. Right.
people of color write just as much stereotypes as anybody else.
Yeah, without question. This is true.
But so we have to be you have to be mindful.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, black people have done every endeavor in life.
Right.
Black people have done. They've been good people. They've been bad people. They've been extremely smart people, and they've been not so smart people. But
Mhm.
each one of them has some humanity. What's the common link? What was their mama like?
Mhm.
How do they behave with their grandmother? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right.
So I just want to find some. I want to find some common humanity, so that when you look at him, you say, "Wow, he reminds me of my neighbor, or
Right.
my cousin, my
Mhm.
uncle."
Right.
I went to church with that guy, or I was in
Mhm.
prison with that guy. You know,
Right. 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 And you do that very well, man. Every role that I see you in, and your filmography is so diverse. I mean, you do all types of stuff. Like you just did, you just came from doing the horror movie, From the Shadows. Salute to
yeah.
Old House and Michael Alden and Ian Holt and all the guys, Mike Sargent. Um, and that role was horror. And then then you play a gangster, then you play a pastor, you know, a la Greenleaf, So
Yeah.
like it's so diverse, and you make all these characters you know. Keith David, you see that energy coming from each character, and I think that's what resonates to the fans. People gravitate to that energy. Speaking of Greenleaf, is there going to be a follow up to Greenleaf at all? Are we going to? The reason why I asked because I think you and Lynn have a great on screen chemistry. Greenleaf was an amazing series. And the fans would like to know if there's going to be a sequel of any kind or.
Well, that's above my pay grade.
Mhm, mhm.
I wish I could say yes. If it were up to me, I would say yes. I would do it in a New York heartbeat.
Right, right,
But
right,
there are other factors that come into it, and so I don't know.
mm,
You know,
right.
but
I have.
I will tell you that as far as I know, you know, one vote is worth 10,000 opinions. So
Right.
if enough people wrote into the network and said, "Oprah, we want the Greenleaf back," perhaps she would do it.
This is very true. So everybody, you hear that?
You
Write Oprah, write the own network, and tell them we want Greenleaf back. Right.
There you go.
Right. So recently, the actors and writers in Hollywood went on strike. Um, if you could
The
just,
actors are still on strike.
the actors are still on strike. The writers they settled their strike a couple of days ago. Am I correct? Um, so give me
Yeah.
what are your reason why I'm mentioning this is because in hip hop, rappers like Snoop Dogg and others were very vocal about streaming. How we were getting paid from streaming. Who gets the money. How does it even work? It became an issue, and that was part of the whole strike. So I'm just trying to get your viewpoint on the strike itself.
Well, it is an issue. It's like why should it be so one-sided and who shares the wealth? We're the
Right,
ones who actually do the labor and do the thing which you want to see so badly.
right,
So
right.
we put why should only you know those streamers
Hmm.
get all the profit. I think that, it's really about sharing the wealth,
Hmm.
and spreading it out, making it a more equitable proposition for
This
everybody.
is without question. And let me ask you this question: what is next for Keith David? I know we just did the movie From the Shadows. What is next on your docket? Do you have anything coming up?
I have coming up. I have a number of singing engagements, and that's what
Oh,
I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year. I'm just going to sing my way through the rest of the year.
okay. Make sure I get an invitation to that. Okay, just so you
All
know.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Tell
Will
our
do.
audience. I don't want to keep you long because I know you're in the car. So tell the audience where they can find you. I know you're big on Twitter, or I should say X, and
Yeah.
yeah,
You can
let everybody
find
know
me.
where they can.
You can find me on Twitter, and all my singing engagements will be announced on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay, brother. Nice talking
All
to
right.
you, Keith, man.
Yes,
Salute to you, bro.
indeed.
All right. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Take care of yourself. All right.
All right, brother. Be good.
Yes, indeed. Anytime.
T Money podcast joint.